Good morning. Let's start the chapter evaporation today. So after this chapter, you will be familiar with the theory of evaporation, factors influencing evaporation, applications and equipments used for the evaporation. So first of all, let's see what is evaporation. Evaporation is a process of vaporizing large quantities of volatile liquid to get a concentrated product. So we'll take uh, the solution which is to be evaporated in a vessel or in a pan, and we apply heat. So with the help of this heat, the solvent gets evaporated, and finally we will get a concentrated product. That is what we call evaporation. But this evaporation is different from other heat processes like drying and distillation. So let's see what are the differences. In case of evaporation, the residue is a concentrated product, but in case of other heat processes like drying, the residue is a solid. And in evaporation, the evaporating liquid is only one component in most of the cases. But the heat processes like distillation, the evaporating liquid is a combination of two or four or more components. So we have to separate each component. Uh, in evaporation, no attempt is made to separate the mixture of vapor, if any, but in case of distillation, it is compulsory to separate each component. For that, we use different fractionating columns or other condensers to collect the expensive solvents. And the purpose of evaporation is to get a concentrated liquid only, but in case of crystallization, the purpose of concentrating the solution is to get crystals. So these are the major differences between evaporation and other heat processes. Then let's see what are the applications of evaporation process. The, the major utility or the major application of evaporation is manufacturing of bulk drugs. Bulk drugs means active chemical substances in powder form. And also we can manufacture biological products uh, with the help of evaporation. Uh, Biological products means the products which is having biological origin, like hormones, enzymes, and antibiotics like uh, penicillin. Then other miscellaneous applications like demineralization of water. Then the factors affecting evaporation. There are many factors which influences the evaporation rate of a liquid. We can represent those factors with an equation, that is m equal to ks divided by p into b minus b inverse, where m is the mass of vapor formed per unit time, that is evaporation rate. Then the S stands for the surface area of the liquid exposed, P is the atmospheric pressure, and B is the maximum vapor pressure and uh, at the temperature of air, and P inverse is the pressure due to the vapor of the liquid, and K is a constant. Let's see each factors in detail. First one is temperature. Higher the temperature, greater will be the B inverse and greater will be the evaporation. So need to if you need to improve the evaporation rate, the simple way is to increase the temperature. So when the temperature increases, obviously the value of B will be more, and that will ultimately results high evaporation rate. Then next is vapor pressure. Vapor pressure is directly proportional to vapor pressure of the liquid, and it is inversely proportional to the atmospheric pressure. When the atmospheric pressure decreases, the evaporation rate will be increased. So it is inversely proportional. At the same time, the vapor pressure of the liquid is directly proportional. When the vapor pressure of a liquid increases, the evaporation rate also increases. Then next is the surface area. Surface area, the greater the surface area of the liquid, the greater will be the evaporation. And moisture content of the feed is another factor which determines the evaporation rate. If there is moisture, when it exposed with high heat, it may leads to the hydrolysis, and ultimately the product may damager. And the types of products required. If we need a liquid or dry concentrate, we can opt open pan equipments. But if we need a good liquid concentrate, we can opt film evaporator. And spray dryer is mainly used for the dry products with good stability, and vacuum evaporator is used for the porous products. So the fact is, the equipments which are used is also uh, a factor, or the type of product is also a factor. Then the time of evaporation is another factor which influences the evaporation rate. If the time of exposure is longer, greater will be the evaporation. And another factor which influences the evaporation rate is film and deposit. Sometimes there may be film depositions. So these films will be act as a resistance layer for the heat transfer. So the presence of film reduces the evaporating surface, and it hinders the transfer of heat, which may ultimately leads to the reduction in the evaporation rate. So to avoid this, uh, we have to provide efficient stirring. Sometimes we can use some stirrers or magnetic beads. So with the help of those equipments, we can avoid the scaling or the film deposits, and thereby we can improve the rate of evaporation. And while selecting an evaporation process, we also should consider the economic factors. uh, how much or how many labors are required to operate that machine, how much will be the fuel cost, uh, how much how much floor space should be there, and what are the materials which are used to manufacture that equipment. So these all factors will be important. We have to consider these things, because these factors ultimately results the production cost, the increase in a production cost. And also we have to consider the possibility to recover the solvents. If we need to recover the solvent, for example, some solvents may be highly expensive. So in such case, we have to recover that solvent. So for that, there should be some provisions to recover that solvent. Then also, utilization of waste heat is also a big factor we have to consider before selecting an evaporation equipment. So that's about the introduction part. Thank you.